Hi everyone, I'm Ahmet. I'm a creative director and an artist. At the moment, I'm building a creative business and I'm also getting into making more art. It's quite an interesting time for me, and I am recording these videos to give an unfiltered look into this phase in my life, which I believe is quite special, but also it can really help others who are either willing to take a similar path, whether it's an entrepreneurial path or getting into art and design or just trying to do something that's unusual. It's also for me to kind of go back and look at in a couple of years from now to see, what was the process, what were the initial motivations that really helped me push to this path. Because as a creative person, I experienced that a lot in my life. The initial thoughts and feelings and excitements are actually the purest forms of creativity. Over time, you make plans, you try to make some meaning out of them, and the things might get lost a little bit. And I think the creative process is, as you move, always remember coming back to the initial motivation, the initial sense of excitement. And I think personally, I always was able to find answers when I was able to come back to this initial state. So that's why I'm recording these videos to help anyone who are willing to build a creative business, who are making more art, or wants to make more art. And this is a really, open conversation about how things are going with me. Hopefully, it will resonate to some of you and it help you to also get to do this transition more smoothly, let's say. So each video will have a different theme, and I will try to tell the story chronologically, right? So what was the beginning of the process and how things are going as I move forward. And I think the first episode should be about excitement, but nothing else. Because it's the excitement that really is the starting point. You need to be excited about something, which really help you jump to something that's unknown, that even can look and sound like crazy to many others, including you. A couple of months ago, what happened was that I was going through some really mentally and emotionally struggling time. Not because I kind of hated my life or something bad happened, but I think it was accumulation of things over the years, which was about I always wanted to make more art. I always wanted to make something that truly resonates to me. And I always postponed it in my life, right? And I think these moments of postponing and ignoring and saying that, oh, I'll get back to this one day was accumulating. And it got to a point where even though I had good clients, I was running a creative agency, nothing was wrong with that. But because I was not feeding that side of me, which basically what my inner child is asking for and asked for many, many years, I felt something was always missing. I wouldn't feel fulfilled. I wouldn't feel like celebrating life or celebrating my successes. I think that really pushed me to start thinking about what was missing. It wasn't an easy time. It was a lot of questioning and a lot of kind of giving up sometimes, right? Like you start thinking, oh, it's too late. I'm 37. Like I should be just continue doing what I'm doing and stop questioning life so much. But everyone has a different personality, and in my case, I am someone who had to make sense of life. So that questioning led to some sort of state of mind, I would say, and I started seeing some signals. Those signals could be anything from seeing some numbers repetitively every time you have a little bit of doubt to all in a sudden connecting with someone who actually is showing you what you should be doing. So those signs were, I think, the first initial kick for me, right? Because I was like, I don't know, I don't trust, I don't know if it's going to work. And that every time I had that, there was a sign all around me that was telling me that you should just be going. So it's also not like, oh, I see some signs, so I should just jump right into it. Your mind is still questioning a lot of things, right? You're believing, not believing what you see. You believe in that moment of what happened, and then you stop believing again. And all these like anxieties and worries comes back, which is usually pushing you to the path that usually have been seen as safe, secure, and known. I mean, that's not really bad because our mind is basically trying to protect us from something like, unknown, uncertain. But I think all these signs and all these like instinctive moments were happening in my heart, and I felt my mind and my heart was a little bit clashing, but I was trying to listen to my heart a little bit more and kind of quieting my mind to see what happens, what shifts. It's not really ignoring what comes to your mind, but if I let my heart lead a little bit, let me see what happens. And I think those were the moments when I was in a doubt, when I was not sure if I am allowed to think this way. It was my heart leading with heart really helped me find peace with myself. So once I started making decisions, and it was about I want to build that art and design platform, as well as I would like to get to make more art. I think one of the biggest signs that I was in the right path was this place. So I was looking for an art studio for a very long time. I wanted something closer to our place, but we live in an area that's quite residential. I never thought I would find a place like this. It was 10 minutes walk to my place. It was in the size and the price that I was looking for, even better than what I was looking for. And it is part of this complex, because one of the worries that I had, if I just have an art studio in an apartment building, I would feel very isolated. So nobody will know what I was doing, because I'm also building this from scratch, right? And I found this in a place that's beautiful. There's a little bit of nature, greenery, which also I thought in Bangkok is not always easy. It's quite skyscrapers, a lot of buildings. Like when I saw the place, I was like, I cannot believe. So this place happened to be available just a couple of weeks before I was looking for this place. And I think that was one of the biggest signs. So the moment I rented this place, I had a sense of relief. So moving from excitement to that relief was reassuring that I was in the right path. I was like, I'm above the sky. The life is amazing. It is the moment where I finally let myself open freely, because I was keeping it quite controlled. So opening that up really opened a beautiful energy, and I started feeling that relief, that connection with myself, with the universe. I know that sounds a little bit like spiritual, but that's exactly how I felt. And the more I was able to stay in that phase, the more magics I will call them, started happening. So one example was one day, and I think that was one of the days I'm like, I really love what's happening. Like I feel like every day feels like a gift. I have this place, I can come here and make my art as much as I need to and I want to. I'm buying all of these like art materials. It's like a heaven to me, to be honest. And there was this one day I was going to this members club, and with no agenda. I was like, I'll just go, I'll take my book, I'll maybe read a couple of pages. One of those days where like you're so in peace, you don't really care about your tasks and you just want to go with the flow, right? That doesn't happen to me very often, I'll be honest, but that day was one of those days. So I go to the members club and I'm like, good morning, what's going on? And then they told me there's this event upstairs called Creative Mornings and I should be checking it out because it's gonna start in 5 minutes. I was like, okay, I heard about Creative Mornings, but I never been to one. Let me go. I go up, I immediately connect with this person who is running the event, and it was such a nice conversation. Like, we immediately started connecting about places we have been and kind of passions we have in life. It was an amazing moment, and I think when you're in that phase, then you attract people as well. So the other people were coming to me and we were having conversations. So then we all went into the event, and it was an influencer was talking about Amber. So she's a young student, law student living in Thailand. She's a black person, but she can speak fluent Thai, and she grew up in Thailand. So a very interesting story. And she was talking about this Amber, which is there's this like little fire that's always within you, and doesn't matter what happens in life, you can always come back to this and reconnect with that little thing, whatever you call it. Some people would call it meditation. For some people, maybe it is reading a book, some people making art. And I think that's like really important in life to come back to. It's kind of like your home, but not a physical home. It's a home inside you. It felt quite aligned with the phase that I was in, right? So I felt like I was finally coming back to this home, which is making more art. She asked someone to come up to the stage and share what that Amber is for them. So I raised my hand, I went up to the stage, and with pretty much no thoughts, no script in my mind, I started talking about my journey as a 4-year-old who always wanted to be an artist, and the life just throw me in different places, and how I'm finally coming back to this fire inside me and reconnecting with it. And it was like a 5 to 6 minutes talk, and when I finished talking, like at some point I felt like I was gonna cry, but I really like hold myself, like, let's not make a scene. Everybody was looking at me. Everybody was like, they were like, they looked so inspired, they looked so fascinated by the story, and it was a breaking moment for me, right? Because I think sharing with others is so important. Once you share with others, your thoughts and feelings become real, right? Become something transferring to other people, and I think that moment is very special. And after the talk, people were coming to me and they were saying how inspired they were, and they wanted to connect, they wanted to follow my socials and all of this. And once I left the place, it was a big reassurance of all of that happened because I was in the right frequency. I was not expecting anything. I was allowing life to just happen, and this happened. So obviously, it's not a big deal, right? But for me, it was what I needed at the time. So I think today's video was about excitement, and I think excitement has different phases. For me, that phase started with having some time of questioning and struggling, and then allow myself to just feel what I feel. And that phase of letting go really helped me connecting with something almost like bigger than myself, and started seeing encounters and started seeing some signals, some magics, even you would call it. And then this led to reassurance over time. I think in the second video, I would like to talk about this phase right after excitement. So it's a little bit of a toxic phase, and how to overcome that phase in order to proceed with your instinct and with your initial ideas that you would like to pursue. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested, follow along, and see you next time.